there are times you meet some people, very, important people, let's say,
Yes.
very important people for your business, for your future here. You cannot communicate to the level that you wished for, So that kind of a missed opportunity is not repeated. That kind of it's like a once in a lifetime opportunity. For that, you
Yes.
just have to be ready. You just have to
That's
be
right.
ready. Yeah.
Five, four, three, two, one.
When it comes to marketing their services or products to China, would you recommend to start with organic traffic or paid traffic in China?
Depends on the budget, actually. In
Mm,
China, everything is available.
mm.
If they don't have, any like scarcity or anything, any limitations. I mean, of course, there are limitations in budget, but still, if their budget is not small, okay, let's say they can afford, it's always better to hire a professional marketing team.
Yes.
Uh, Company that has been helping foreign. So basically, yeah, talking about that marketing. So of course, to summarize, if they have budget, relatively bigger budget, then I would always hire a professional marketing company.
Mm,
But of course, if the budget is limited, then there's always, a possibility to start organically. Just need to hire some employees instead of marketing team,
mm.
because here in social media in China is also like different from what they used to. It's entirely different from Facebook, Instagram,
Mm.
etc., etc. So for that reason, they have to hire some Chinese employees with marketing knowledge, and then it's still possible to do it organically. I
Yes.
would say I met a few entrepreneurs actually with started with limited budget and then have tremendous success actually doing it organically. Yeah,
Yes. Yes. From my side, I will recommend them to go to trade shows, talk to people directly.
organic marketing. So yeah, there's trade shows and meetups through chambers. Also, they can start organizing their own groups on social media as well.
Mm.
That's also like it works just like in any other country, basically, if they want to do organically.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's right. That's right. And there are certain organisms to follow when it comes to organic traffic on Chinese social medias, right?
of
Once
course,
they
of
once
course,
they
yeah,
follow the algorithm, their channel will grow faster.
of course, of
Yes,
course.
yes.
Uh, yeah, I mean, one thing is for sure that when they're entering the Chinese market, although they might have a lot of followers on Western social media,
Yeah.
they will have to start it from scratch in China. They
That's
need
right.
to, for example, make their website in Chinese so that it's, workable through Baidu. It's searchable
Yeah,
through
yeah.
Baidu. It's,
Mm.
in line with Baidu's algorithms, for example. And same goes to the for the social media like Weibo, or Douyin, for example, etc., etc. Yeah.
Mm. That's right. That's right. So any common mistakes that you have witnessed after serving so many business owners, and how would you recommend to avoid it?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I can clearly remember few cases from our clients.
Yeah.
Although my company and my team, we consulted them, we told them that it would be a mistake.
Mm.
They most of the times I mean, these failure examples. I mean,
Mm.
once we open the company, we always try to give our opinion based on the
Mm.
product, based on this, service. It's completely for free. We don't charge for it. It's just a professional opinion. Just say that, please. I mean, based on our practice, we wouldn't do that in this situation. But there are some clients, who think maybe their experience abroad, they, wrongfully make them very confident in the Chinese market. So in some instances, for example, they didn't really uh, localize the product, just like we talked about
Yes.
earlier.
Yes.
They brought some of their products into China, and then they didn't really consider the values here,
Yeah. Maybe green
or
hats.
what, yeah, or what the taste even. For example, when I'm talking about, in this specific case, I'm talking about food and beverage products. Yeah, the food and beverage, it might be the product you're selling, it might be successful in your country
Yes.
because it's based on your cuisine or based on the taste of that market.
Yes.
But in here, there's if you like pick the big brands like McDonald's, KFC, etc. These are like
Yeah.
top
Yes.
brands. If you compare the menu, it's totally different. So you have to be willing, actually, willing to maybe sacrifice a few secret recipes. Yeah, they
That's
might be
right.
very special in your country, but in here, I don't think, that aspect plays a huge role if that recipe is not localized here. That's very important. I had this, first-hand experience with one client. They spend a lot of money here, but they absolutely refused to localize the product, change the content maybe, and try out different
Yeah.
flavors. But unfortunately, they could not sell many, so they had to shut down that line. They are still our client, but that specific product was not sold that many. And another example is patience. Also happened with another client. Maybe in many other countries, the result is maybe faster for businesses. When you start selling, when you start marketing, even with the paid ads, paid marketing, you might get faster results. But in China, especially if the product or service is foreign owned, the Chinese consumers, they take their time actually to start consuming that product or, using that service. Yeah, they say that, well, first of all, yeah, maybe it's a foreign brand, foreign company, but still, we need to see it from our, some successful, KOLs, maybe, this is a huge trend here. If I would, for example, I would team up with the local KOLs and probably talk to
That's
them
right.
and use their followers to your advantage. If there's nothing like that, it would be probably very hard to penetrate the market here.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So you have to have a huge patience here. I mean, if you don't have timing, you're in rush, probably Chinese market is not the right, market for you. But if you have patience, Chinese market is quite rewarding. Yeah. If you find the right product and if you find the right taste, you can literally sell thousands and millions and hundred thousands. That's quite easy. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. So for those examples you gave me, I think some of them it comes to the Chinese culture. Maybe they don't really understand the Chinese culture, right? And for
Yeah.
the food
Exactly.
example, the
Yeah.
Chinese food is very different from the Western food.
Yeah. Totally.
Yeah, the
Totally.
flavor, something. So they need to change to
Yeah.
localize. Some of
Exactly. I mean, exactly. I
yes,
mean, sorry to interrupt, but one thing comes to mind, it's universal, actually, universal
yeah.
law of any business, which is, universal, one of the universal laws of any business in any given market is it's always safe to ride the existing trend. For example, instead of educating the market on your new product and saying that this is a special product, this is a special service, you have to be using it. If you do that, of course, it's going to cost you a fortune and a lot of time as well. I mean, educating the market is always costly. So of course you either have time and budget for it, and you go for it, you can do that, but it takes a lot of time and it's going to cost you a lot. But the golden rule of any business, of any market, including Chinese market, is you come here, pick the existing trend, and you ride the market. That's it. What is selling here right now? What kind of taste, what kind of flavor is selling, most? Maybe you just, align with that. That's it.
Yes.
You just pick that, and you adjust your product just like to be that and a little better. And that is the key, actually, in any market, including Chinese, Japanese, Korean, whatever market you talk about. So this is one thing that most of the clients refuse, or most of the clients ignore, don't really consider. Instead, what we see is actually 95% of the time, they bring their own product, and that's going to be extremely challenging, But of course, there's this 5% of smarter, companies or smarter entrepreneurs. They bring their product, the label, the brand, and everything, but the taste, the flavor, the approach is just like the local ones, maybe slightly better. Maybe they, they make it slightly better with different functionality or different, gift packages, etc., etc.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. So from your experience, how would you recommend to build a strong relationship with the Chinese consumers, the Chinese business partners?
Well, just like we talked about in the marketing here, or entering the Chinese market, approaching and building a relationship with Chinese, entrepreneurs is through, accepting something they are offering, and then, adjusting yourself to the environment, actually. Because let me explain what I mean by that. I have seen a lot of foreign entrepreneurs, foreign companies who don't want to adjust themselves, to the local customs. Instead, they start complaining. They say, "Well, why they behave in such a way? Why they do that? Why?"
I met a lot as
And
well.
I always I almost immediately tell them that, you are in a different country. Why are you trying to change them? Instead, change yourself.
That's
If
right.
you want to succeed here, you change your behavior. You act like, I mean, there's a saying, like, while in Rome, you act like Romans. That is the key element here. If you want to have friends, if you want to have valuable partners here, act like them. That's it. First thing is just adjust to the culture and start approaching them in a friendly manner, not like I want to sell you a product. Nobody likes that. Nobody likes a salesperson. You don't want to sell, and they're not interested in your product in the first place. You bring something valuable that they might actually appreciate. Yes. And this is how, for example, in my own life, I have a lot of, thank God, I have a lot of strong connections, strong, really reliable friends among the locals, among Shanghainese, among, Chinese people in general. So how did I, do that is basically just like that, approaching them and just start a friendly conversation. That's it. You don't want to sell something immediately. You don't want to be there just promoting your product. No, none of that. Just a friendly conversation, and introduce yourself and say that, well, you've been, here in China for some time and you would like to, have some local friends. That's it. Invite them for drinks, maybe follow up like they invite you for drinks, etc., etc. Conversations lead to more serious conversations. You don't, if you start, for example, I have also seen people like that, posting on social media, including LinkedIn, saying that, well, we are looking for Chinese partners. Well, if you do that, of course, you're going to attract a lot of dodgy people as well. A lot of and then people start complaining why they are not honest, blah, blah. Well, it's yourself to blame. You open the window. You open the window saying that I need partners, I need partners. Of course, everybody's going to enter into your room, right? There are some dodgy people who want to take advantage of you. There are some honest people, and it's going to be a chaos. It's
Yeah,
better to
that's right.
start friendship and then develop it step by step. Yes.
Yeah, that's right. Bring value to the other party, and then they will appreciate it, and
Of
in
course.
return, they will help you
Yes,
as well.
yes, of course.
Yes.
Yes, exactly. I mean, for example, I can tell you one really, I mean, this is where I got the first taste of Chinese guanxi, for example.
Yes,
This was
yes.
my first example. Like before that, I had never experienced that.
Mm,
Like I was just helping a local guy here with their contracts.
mm,
They said, okay, we are signing this contract, and being a corporate lawyer yourself with the background, can you please look at our contract?
mm.
So if someone else was in my place, probably they would say, well, I'm going to charge for
That's
for
right.
it. Like
Yes.
yeah. But I didn't want to do that because it was interesting, first of all, to me to look at that contract, and plus I wanted more. Like I wanted to develop this friendship with this guy.
That's
So I
right.
just looked at the contract. I gave my opinion. Maybe I spent a few hours. That's it. And then after some time, he called me and he said, "Well, there is a very important meeting. Would you like to come with me?" And I said, "Well, why not? Let's go." And apparently, that meeting led us to meet. Um, I don't know if it's right to mention names or not, but it
Yeah.
led to meet. Yeah, I will skip the names, but
Yeah, just give the
it led me.
name.
Yeah, yeah.
Maybe
It
just the
led
title,
it
maybe.
led us.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So one of the Fortune 500 companies, like
Wow.
well-known entrepreneurs, yeah, in that meeting, for example. And
Nice.
it's like all by accident, all just being nice to that local person. And that is like, they can open doors to you you would never imagine. Because this is kind of, guanxi, like people like I asked him, how did you find this kind of meeting and how you got invited? And he said, well, I have a buddy there and he's
Mm.
got buddy there. So like kind of a chain
Yeah,
reaction.
yeah.
And plus after the meeting we exchanged cards and contacts, etc. We still have that relationship with this kind of companies, and it gives us a lot of leads basically. So
Yeah.
this is what my approach would be. And honestly speaking, before China, that's kind of in my nature. So
Mm,
that's why I hate people complaining being in a foreign country, honestly. Like
mm.
complaining, especially about the culture, the way things
That's
run, etc.
right.
So I say, stop complaining. If you are here to do business, you just have to focus on that aspect.
Mm.
Focus on that aspect and accept what's reality, right?
Yeah.
Adjust yourself, adjust. And if you start complaining, then probably you should not do international business. You should be going back to your country and do it there. So
Yeah.
people, yeah.
That's right. That's right. I think it's a part of the entrepreneurship.
Yeah,
Being
of
an
course.
entrepreneur, we have to take the extreme ownership. As
Of
nothing
course.
happened to you because of nothing, because you did something in the past that happened because of you. That's
Of
my
course.
opinion.
Of
Something you did
course.
in the past
Exactly.
and leads to the situation now you are in, right? So got to take
Exactly.
the
Exactly.
extreme ownership, take responsibility for ourselves. That's how we can
Yep.
grow and the business can grow.
Exactly.
If they always blame others, nothing
Exactly.
will work. Nothing will work.
No. No.
Yeah.
Blaming is not going to solve any issues, especially if they want to sell into the Chinese market or if they want to build business
Mm,
here. Immediately, like blaming someone should not be in the vocabulary. Like really, like eliminate that
yes.
and
Yeah.
see what you can do,
Mm,
how you can adjust yourself, how
mm,
you can speed up the process yourself. For example, let me bring you another like example. There's a client who came with their own team.
yeah.
Okay. And then, of course, we are, being a corporate consultancy, we are handling their paperwork for the company formation, et cetera, et cetera. So somewhere during, mid of the process, I got a call from my partner, actually, a local partner, and they said that, well, do you know that this member of this team is directly contacting with the department, government department?
Yeah.
I said, well, that's news. I mean, they should not be doing that. Actually, based on the contract as well, that we are the
Yes.
ones who
Yeah.
contact the department on their behalf. This is,
Mm.
they gave right to us with the power of
Mm.
attorney and everything.
Yeah.
So contacting and going around us, actually, that might be okay and acceptable in many other places, but in here, many things are built on relationships. Like,
That's
it
right.
kind of ruins everything. So what happened, basically, long story short, is um, the whole process became standardized for them. We could probably do it faster if we did it ourselves, but just because they contacted the department,
Mm.
and their paperwork was thrown back,
Mm.
and then it says you just have to wait, and they end up waiting for like 2-3 weeks more. So
Mm.
that's the
Yeah.
thing. Like, when you are here, just trust the process, be a part of the culture. Things, it's not something like unofficial, or I don't want to sound like there is always this kind of element here, but no. I mean, this is kind of true in many way in other countries as well.
Mm.
So when you
Yes.
are there, you just have to evaluate the real situation in that specific environment, and just, instead of complaining, try being part of it, so
Mm.
that you achieve your goals faster. Yeah.
Yes, that's right. It's something to do with the culture. They are not familiar with the culture, not
Of
familiar with
course.
the
Of
Chinese
course.
business etiquette.
Of course.
That's
Of course.
yeah, that's the most important thing I think many business owners they tend to maybe ignore, right?
It might happen. It's just, these are the things that, fortunately, can be avoided. So that's why we are talking about this, in this video, and they can maybe watch and try to avoid.
That's right.
But of course, like, although Chinese market is very challenging in general, I
Mm.
would say there are a few, not a few actually, there are quite enough
Mm.
examples of foreigners, who are really successful, extremely successful.
Mm.
I met many foreigners, for example, they, own large businesses in China. Yeah, quite large actually,
Yeah.
and that's kind of motivating as well. Uh, so
Mm.
that, I mean, I'm saying this because there's always a conception. There's always a conception that, wrong misconception, I'd say. They say that, well, Chinese market is quite challenging and
Mm.
it's nearly impossible to be successful as a foreign person. All these things are wrong. I
Yes.
met, I said, quite successful people. For example, I met one person who owns not one but six factories in China.
Mm.
Six factories, like a foreign entrepreneur, and that was, not one actually. There are several I met.
Yeah.
So yeah, there are
Yes.
success stories.
Yeah, it is. It is successful, and
Mm.
as long as they are willing to adopt the culture, business etiquette,
Yep,
to spend the
exactly,
time to understand the people's mindset, right? And if they want
exactly.
to do business in China, they need to speak Chinese, right? Especially for long term, they want to do business in China for long term. It's
Of
a
course,
must
of
to
course,
speak the
of course.
language, right?
Of course, of course.
That's right.
And I can tell you from my experience as well, the Chinese element. I blame myself and my, sometimes, because my own Chinese is not that developed, but still, I'm working on it every day. But, there are times you meet some people, very, important people, let's say,
Yes.
very important people for your business, for your future here. And you know you cannot communicate to the level that you wished for, so that kind of a missed opportunity is not repeated. That kind of it's like a once in a lifetime opportunity. For that, you
Yes.
just have to be ready. You just have to
That's
be
right.
ready. Yeah.
That's
Learning
right.
Chinese, working on yourself. Yeah. I know that you offered some Chinese courses, so yeah,
That's right. That's right. Yes, yes. To help people to understand Chinese business etiquette, language, people's mindset better.
sure.
Yeah. So what kind of mentors are you following? Who do you learn from?
Yeah, well, this question is a little bit hard to answer for me because, I am one of those people who is, who likes to take bold actions, whether
Mm,
it's right or wrong. If my gut says that this is the right path, the right direction,
yeah, the same for
whether
me.
it's yeah, mentor or whether it's a successful person who wouldn't do this kind of action, I would still do it because I just like this. That's it. I mean, that's why there are few people I follow and try to learn. For example, maybe it sounds a cliche or
Mm,
whatever, but
mm,
I like to follow, for example, Tesla founder Elon Musk.
mm.
For example, I'm not saying that. I mean, some people might say, "Well, he's too big," or he's no. I'm not comparing my business to that level or to that person in any way. It's just I like how Elon Musk makes his decision. For example,
Yeah.
sometimes I ask myself, how would this person react in this specific situation? What would he do? And I watch their interviews all the time and maybe read about them, etc. Whenever I have time. It's not like I follow them every step of the way. No, it doesn't happen ever.
Mm,
But yeah, to name a few, this Elon Musk, for example, or Jeff Bezos,
yeah.
really respect and follow. And to some extent, Chinese entrepreneur, Alibaba founder, Jack Ma,
Jack
for
Ma.
example, quite
Mm,
yeah, good success story.
mm,
Like I said, I have a few people who I prefer reading about, but I'm not like a follower. I don't follow them like step by step. But what I do is instead I analyze their decisions.
mm.
Why, for example, Elon Musk entered the Chinese market? For example,
Yes.
why did he build a factory here?
Mm,
And specifically related to my field, why did he choose to open their company in this specific district? Why is it Shanghai? This kind of questions, real life examples, honestly speaking.
that's right.
Why, for example, they didn't build their factory in Wuhan, for example? I'm not
In
saying Wuhan is
Shanghai.
bad or anything like that, but still, yeah, exactly in Shanghai. So this kind of situation gives you real life answers. Okay, if you analyze it, you get to the bottom of it, and it's a great example for many potential entrepreneurs who want to enter the Chinese market.
Yes.
And yeah, that kind of real life examples always helps. And at some point, it's a public information actually. They can look it up. I was really interested in Jack Ma. His like
Great leader, by
activities.
the
What
way.
yeah, of course, great leader. I mean, he managed to build such a huge company. I mean, it doesn't happen
Empire.
overnight. Yeah, empire. It doesn't happen to any like any random person. Obviously, he's really smart,
Mm,
very energetic and knowledgeable person. So
mm,
I just started reading about him on Baidu, and I came across with the fact that it's like I said, it's a public data. It's not a secret information or anything like that. I discovered that he's got 83 companies. 83
impressive.
companies, and then yeah, started like reading one by one, and he's got investments in every field imaginable. Honestly, it's not one Alibaba. If like a random person talks about Jack Ma, well, first thing comes to is Alibaba. Actually,
Mm,
yes, Alibaba is a huge chunk, but then there is 82 companies that he's involved
yes.
in. You can read about all these companies and you can see that's a huge,
Yeah, that's
uh,
right.
like a place to learn actually. And then you start questioning why there are so many income sources. Well,
Mm,
obviously, one income source is not nearly enough in today's life, today's, market.
that's right. That's right. And he
Yeah.
started as an English teacher in the very beginning. Yeah.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
That
He
tells us
mentioned.
the importance of language. And when you see him to visit the former president of the US, right? He can talk to him very well in his native language, and he can start a rapport with him. And when he give a talk in some Western country, he can talk to the audience there and speak to their heart because he know the
Exactly.
culture of the Western cultures. Western
Exactly.
countries, right? So that's the importance of language and culture. And that gives him a very strong presence in the international arena as well.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yes.
I mean, exactly like you said. For example, if the founder or the director or the chief executive who is behind the company has its own brand, like a personal brand, it's also going to, help to build the company as well. I mean, you just have to look at this picture like from different perspective, in Alibaba situation, we know that Alibaba is a big company. It's
Yes.
an empire, like you said. But we, at the same time, we know that Jack Ma is own brand. Like because of Jack Ma, we know
His
Alibaba.
personal
Because of
brand. Yeah.
Alibaba, we know Jack Ma. So it's like two things built simultaneously. And I think a lot of mid-range and small companies as well, they can take great example from this as well. So that's why I try to be always like myself, try to be present online all the time, like try to build my own name as well, separate from my company, so
That's
that they go line by line. Yes, so that's very important as well. You need to be working on yourself. You need to be like present all the time, communicating with your potential clients or followers or readers even. There are some companies hire social media manager, for example.
yes.
I think to some extent it's okay, no problem, but at least you need to be able to check all the emails yourself, like as a company founder, company director, and from time to time maybe reply to the comments if you have like videos or social media posts yourself instead of hiring somebody else, because your potential clients, your potential
You can tell if it's you
partners, they
or the
can
person.
definitely know. Yes, they definitely know that if it's you or not. So if it's you, you connect with their hearts, just like you said, and
That's
that's
right.
kind of it's going to impact a lot.
Yeah, that's right. No matter it's a B2B or B2C, it's always human to human. If you want
Yeah,
the people to your social media follower to buy from you, they first you have to sell yourself. They have to
of course,
like
you have to be
you.
able to sell. Yeah,
Yeah, they have to
yourself.
like you.
You need-
You have to speak to
Yes,
their
yes,
heart, interact with them, reply to their message,
exactly.
reply to see what they're saying in the comments.
Exactly. And just like these people we talked about, we mentioned like Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, Jack Ma, Alibaba founder, all these people, they are always accessible through, some social media. I know that Jack Ma, for example, some people say that he's not accessible, but etc. But when he was active in China, when he was the CEO of Alibaba,
Yes, yes.
I know that he was the rector, or he was the like a head teacher still of a business school that he founded in Hangzhou. Because I know a person, um, kind of my friend, he got enrolled in his business school, and he actually went there to study for 2 weeks or something like that for like business school period. And they get to meet Alibaba founder, and they talk to them, talk to him, etc. And for many people outside of China, that might not be accessible information, but if they speak Chinese, if they search on Baidu, that they can see, all of these CEOs, they are quite accessible for the local market here, local people.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right. Yes. Nice. So for those people who's interested in what you do, right? What do you think is the best way for them to reach out to you?
Yeah, it's always through email.
Okay.
Yeah, my email is always, it's everywhere basically on YouTube,
Okay.
Facebook,
Yeah.
Instagram.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
on the channel they can find email. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Nice. So far, Jasur and I are working on a book about business Chinese, and you will learn the corporate language in Chinese, Chinese business etiquette, and how do Chinese people think. And it will definitely help you to have a wild success in China. And to grab the book, you can click the link in description below and scan the QR code on the left side. So thank you again to Jasur for your time, and that's all for this episode of the Kelly Show. So if you like my show, make sure you subscribe my channel and hit the notification. Until next time, stay tuned.